Yo, what's going on YouTube? Today we are talking to you about a new computer build. Stay tuned. So today we are talking about the new computer build that I'm doing, and as you can see here I have all these parts laid out because I just got them and it's super exciting. It's like Christmas in May. May the 4th be with me because today's May 4th and I got all this nice stuff. So super excited about that, and we're going to tell you why we have all this stuff, what we're going to do with it, and what that means to you guys as the viewer here. I really needed a new computer that I could edit 4K videos on. And you're like, well, Zach, I've seen your videos before and you always talk about your Mac. You always talk about your MacBook and how wonderful and fantastic your MacBook is and how you wouldn't recommend anything else to anybody. And that's still very, very true. The MacBook is a beast. It's portable, it's great. It does edit videos very, very well, but it does not edit 4K 60 frame per second videos well at all. Unless I use Final Cut Pro. I don't want to use Final Cut Pro, I like to use Adobe Premiere. So I needed something that could handle that workload. And based on what I have right here laid out in front of me, this will handle it. There's no doubt in my mind that this will handle that build. Before I get into each individual part and component that I have here, I want to let you guys know that this video is brought to you today by Newegg. Newegg.com. You guys can purchase all of these parts right here, and I will put a link in the description. It is an affiliate link, so just be aware of that. So to get into each individual part that we have here, we'll start with some of the basics. Right here, we'll start with the case. This is a beast of a case. I never thought I would have a case like this because it is actually very expensive as far as a case is concerned. So this case runs $140 and it pretty much has everything that I wanted out of a case. And the reason why I spent so much money on this specific case, and believe me, I could have spent less money and got some of the same stuff that this one has, but being that it is a nice solid case, it has the tempered glass, which I really wanted. I'm glad that I got this one, right? It comes with fans, which was the #1 thing that I was looking for. I was looking for a case that already had fans inside of it, because not that I can't put the fans in, or I don't want to put the fans in, right? I just don't want to do that. If I could find something that has everything already for me, that's perfect. But the other reason is it has 4 USB spots right on top of the computer. Not a lot of the cases out there have those, at least a lot of the ones that I was running into, they only had like 2. That's not gonna cut it for me because I'm always plugging stuff in and out. So anyway, it has 3 multicolored fans in the front of it, which is pretty cool, I guess, if you are into all the fancy colors and all that stuff. And I decided I would do that because I have 3 kids and I know they'll get a bigger kick out of it than I will. So case, great, fantastic, 140 bucks. It's gonna fit everything in here perfect and it's gonna look really nice and crisp. That's also something that's really nice. Next is solid state drive. This is just the Crucial, I would say MX500, 250 gigs. This is really important right here. Doesn't matter what solid state drive that you get a solid state drive. It is worth the money. And you don't get a lot of space, but that's okay. You're gonna notice here that I don't have any other hard drives, right? I have spare hard drives that are used that I was just gonna use because I didn't wanna buy a new one. Right? It just didn't make sense. Like, I was trying to be a little bit budget friendly, so no more storage. Put whatever I want in here. I actually have another solid state drive I'm going to throw in here. I'm going to have 2. That's going to handle a lot of my programs and things like that. This will be for the operating system. Next up is the DDR4 Corsair RAM, and it's 32 gigs, and it's the Vengeance LED. So this actually lights up, which is really crazy. Again, kids will get a kick out of it. I don't really care so much, but it will look nice. This RAM is definitely highly recommended. A lot of people gave it really, really good reviews, and based on the speed and how much I needed, the price and everything, it was pretty much right where I wanted to be at. I could have spent a little bit less, but it was with other RAM that I just didn't want to spend the money on those specific brands of RAM. We won't name names, but Corsair, one of my favorites. Next up, we're gonna go with the processor, right? It was hiding behind all this stuff. I could have brought that up first, but as you guys can see, this is the brand new AMD Ryzen 7, It's 8 core, 16 threads, and it's gonna be freaking amazing. So I basically wanted to spend the most money that I possibly could on a processor. So let's jump into that really quick, because what we're gonna talk about right now is very, very important. AMD versus Intel. Why did I pick AMD? Well, it's a little bit cheaper, and based off of everything that I read, the reviews that I've read, and the experience that I've had with AMD, it made more sense to me. AMD Ryzen 7, this is the 2700X processor right here. I think it was like 300 bucks, which is fantastic. For a comparable Intel processor, I believe it was like 4 or something like that. And for me, again, no doubts about it, it's gonna be fantastic. And what also is really important about this is, you guys know, have the Mac here. The first thing that I'm gonna do is get a video ready to export and edit in 4K. Really, the export thing is the most important part here, because I know this should handle the editing and everything very, very well. I'm gonna put these two up against each other. Once this thing is completely built, this one right here, put it up against the Mac, the same exact video, same exact edits, and we are going to export them at the same exact time and see which one comes out first. So my money is actually on the AMD processor. If you are at all familiar with Macs, they all have Intel processors. That's an i7, and we'll see which one wins. And I'm fairly certain it's going to be this one. On to the next part, which is the Corsair liquid cooler for the AMD processor. This will be the very first time that I am actually using a liquid cooling system in any of my machines. So this will be interesting. I don't imagine there will be any issues at all putting this together. There will be a video for that where I go through each and every bit. H100i V2 liquid cooling, and very excited about that. Next, we'll go with the motherboard here. It's the Asus, I believe that's how you say it, X470 Ultra Gaming motherboard. To be completely honest with you, when I am looking for motherboards, there's so many out there, and so many are going to have like little bits and pieces about it. They're going to be, you know, slightly different from another one. But when it comes down to it, I want to see the reviews on them, and that's how I base my judgment. There's so much comparable things with all of them. They all are so very similar, and when you're comparing price and what they do, the specs and everything that they have, it's whatever you want. I can quite honestly say it doesn't really matter too much, unless you're going to go completely high end. If you're absolutely dead set on going completely high end on all of your components, then you'd probably want to make sure that you're definitely looking into your motherboards a little bit more thoroughly. This I could have got much cheaper. I think I could have got another motherboard for around $80 or so, but I wanted to be right kind of in the middle, to where I knew I was going to get something really good, and it was going to have everything that I wanted. Pretty sure this had 6 USB ports on there, and that's why I wanted it, because again, I love USB. Plugging everything in via the USB is fantastic. Moving on to the next piece here is the Asus Geforce GTX 1060, which this video card is highly recommended by a lot of people. Being that I use Adobe Premiere, having a video card that was actually pretty good, it made sense for me. So we got this Asus 1060, and I'm super stoked about it. It is a monster. 6 gigs GDDR5 RAM. Huge. I mean, that's a huge. I could have got an 8 gig card for around the same price, but did not have nearly as good as reviews as this one. And I figured, what's 2 gigs at this point, right? I mean, what? Come on now. If I really wanted the other 2 gigs, I would have bought something much more expensive, because I know that the specs on that would have been much better. So anyway, GDDR5, 6 gigs, GeForce GTX 1060. This is a beast. I cannot wait to see this thing. I can't wait to pull it out of the box and put it inside this machine. Do a couple benchmarks and see where it comes out. And last on the list right here is the Roseville 850 watt power supply. And I wanted to actually go a little bit more with the power, but based off of the site that I was using to determine, you know, how much power was needed, 850 watts was more than enough. This one is modular. I'm pretty sure I got the modular one. say it somewhere? Yep, modular. If you don't know what a modular power supply is versus a regular power supply, I strongly suggest you look into that if you are looking to build a machine. This will allow me to use far less cables, which is great, because we want to make sure that this thing is nice and pretty on the inside. No cables really showing besides the absolute necessary cables. So this is part one of a few videos that we're going to do on this build, because we have a lot to talk about here. We will, of course, do the complete build in a video so that you guys out there who are unfamiliar with building a computer can see from somebody who's built quite a few computers how that process is done, because it's really, really easy. A lot of people think that it's very overwhelming or a daunting challenge. It's really not. It is very, very simple to put a computer together. It's just getting over that little fear that, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's not that bad. You can YouTube videos just like we'll be doing like right now, putting this together. So that's this video. Stay tuned for the next video. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, hit me up in the comments below. I'd be glad to answer whatever I can for you. And as always, take it easy.